Hi, Scott from Canadian Fisherman, and you're probably wondering, why have I traded in the boat for the kitchen? Why is this a stand mixer and not a fishing rod? And why is this a piece of beef as opposed to fish? Stick around and I'll tell you all about it. Okay, so I've got a stand mixer here, and when I was doing some research on how to use it, I noticed that you can actually put a whole bunch of different attachments onto a stand mixer, one of which is a food grinder. And so this is a KitchenAid stand mixer. I reached out to the folks at KitchenAid and they were kind enough to loan me a food grinder to try it out for myself, because I love the idea of being in complete control of grinding my own meat for the purposes of hamburgers or meatballs, meatloaf, putting it into pasta sauce, whatever. So I'll really show you quickly what came in the package, and then I'll show you how to hook it up, and then we'll take the next step, which is preparing the meat. So this is the grinder itself. This is the hopper where the meat goes in. You unthread this piece, and you've got two dials here which identify, and these are stainless steel, how thick the actual grind is going to be. So it comes with two, and it comes with a blade, and then this worm drive right here that pops out. It's just like a corkscrew, and that's what spins around. It'll drag the meat through, push it up against the blade as the blade turns, and then it'll force the meat out through whichever setting you've got it for. So I'm going to go with the thinner setting here today. So we put it in, tighten it up. Now when you're actually doing the grinding, you also have this guy here, which is like a plunger, where if you need any help pushing some of the meat down, that's what that's used for. On your actual stand mixer, people always wonder, what's this? Unthread this, pop out the little cover plate, and then this attachment, and just like anything, whether or not it's a pasta maker, or in this case the food grinder, pops into that spot. Take your screw back on, tighten that down, and you're ready to go. All you need is the meat. So stick around for a second. I'm going to show you the next part, which is how I actually prepare the meat that I'm going to put into this grinder. Okay, so first of all, why is this in any way related to fishing? It's because it's at the end of February. March is about a week away, and I've begun final prep actually for some of my spring fishing trips. Part of that prep is getting the food ready. I like to make sure that I buy food in advance, I get it on sale. In this particular case, burgers and ground beef, that type of thing, are an important part of our fishing trips, and so I can control exactly what meat I buy, and I can buy it on sale. So what I did, I was actually at Costco, and they had sirloin roasts on sale, so I bought myself a big old sirloin roast. And what I've done in between clips here is I went through that roast and I just trimmed off the fat, the silver skin, any of the sinew, any of the things that make it a little bit tough. Then what I've done is I've been cutting it up into strips that will fit about the size of this hopper. So if we take a look, here's a piece here. It's going to be a little bit thick, so all I do, take the knife, give it a little cut into the size that I need it to be. Anything that I think is going to be a little bit too big, I trim it down. Now, the reason it's important to get it the right size is because one of the things that I did is I did research on ways to make sure that this cuts the most effective and it grinds the best way. And you want the meat almost frozen. So not frozen solid, but almost frozen, and it increases the performance of the grinder. So I'm pre-cutting the meat into strips so that after they've been in the freezer for a little while, then they're going to fire right in here just fine. So the plan today is I'm going to grind up this. It's going to make a lot of ground beef, and the bulk of it I'm then going to package and save for my first spring fishing trip that's not actually that far away. So come on back after I've put this in the freezer, and I'm going to show you the actual grinding process. Okay, so I've had the meat down in the freezer getting it a bit chilled up so it'll grind a little bit better. Now I'm going to go through. So one thing I should note here is I've gone with 100% sirloin here. I've cut off the fat. You put whatever meat you want in here. I've already done this with a ground chuck, and I made burgers. They were fabulous. This is sirloin. Other people will put some pork or some filler. So I've got the attachment on. I'm going to put it on to 4, and then you're going to hear the noise, and then I'm going to start feeding the meat in, and you can see it grind up. Grab one here. And there you go, folks. You can see it coming out. And it'll just pull it down. You can give it a little bit of a, help. Just give it a little push with your finger, or don't forget you've got the plunger. So in the case of the plunger, just give it a push, and then you can see that beef coming out. But because of the worm drive, it grabs it and pulls it as it goes. But now you can see the importance of having the right size of your meat. I mean, it comes out beautiful. The other thing you could consider doing, so you could put in different meats and change the order that you're putting them in to mix it up. But the other thing you can do is put in spices. And then you can pre-spice your burgers or your meat, however you want to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep grinding away here. So you can see I've got lots of meat to do, and then I'll show you the finished results. Alright, so I'm all done. I ground up all that meat, did it in one shot. I've got two bowls. This is the first bowl I was working with. You can see between the two of them I've got over 10 pounds of fresh ground beef ready to go. So some of it I'm going to put into Ziploc bags into just ground beef, use that for grounding up pasta sauce. Others I'm going to actually put into hamburger patties. I'm going to freeze those up in a food saver, so I'm going to vacuum seal them. Next time I'm going to see those is when I'm going to be on the far north of Ontario on a fishing trip. So, little quick summary. First of all, I was able to clean this in the sink. You can also put most of it in the dishwasher if you want. It took seconds to clean this up. Because most of it is plastic, it cleaned up super easy. My overall impression is I'm able to grind up a whole lot of meat that I could see exactly what was going in. I could put the fat content that I wanted. I could get rid of any particles I didn't want. I could buy it at a price I wanted to. I could grind it up as easily as I wanted to. Done. And now I know exactly what's going into the food that my family's eating, and I can control the budget. And this little attachment, by the way, I think it's around $80 Canadian. And so if you've already got a stand mixer, you've already made the significant investment. Now all you do is need to purchase the add-on, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So thanks to KitchenAid for loaning me this. You've just converted one person to making a sale.